What's going on, guys? Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection, coming to you today with a closed garage door. We're hiding from the heat here in Virginia. It's been ridiculously hot, but that's the nature of the beast. At least it doesn't snow. So I've gotten into some projects lately that have required me to do some sandblasting. And I don't know about you, I hate cleaning stuff up with a wire wheel. I would rather do pretty much anything else because no matter how much you do it, it never seems to come out right. So what I did is I picked up one of these Central Pneumatic 110-pound abrasive blaster. Some people call them sandblasters. Some people call them pressure pots. I picked up one of these things, and initially when I went to use it, I had all of the problems that everybody talks about. The nozzle's clogged, the little feeder down the bottom clogged up. It was very intermittent. The air was extremely wet. And so what I did, in addition to modifying my air compressor, which I talked about in a previous video, I did some extensive mods to this unit to make this work reliably, consistently, and it provides a far superior blasting than just your normal out-of-the-box black oxide or whatever else you're fighting with. On a side note, very, very important, you do not want to use play sand when you blast, all right? I cannot emphasize this point enough. The silica in the play sand becomes airborne, you inhale it, and then inside your lungs you get something called silicosis or scylla something or other, but it's really, really bad. You can actually die from it. So just fair warning, do not use normal play sand or whatever. You have to use approved blasting media. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around, we're going to talk about all the stuff that I was able to do to this, and then we'll cut to a video. I had the opportunity to sandblast some parts off of my motorhome that were really rusty, and I went ahead and powder coated them. But I'll show you the speed at which you can blast when you do the modifications that are necessary to this unit. So stay tuned. We're going to get into it, and let me know what you think. All right, so the first part of this we're going to talk about is the suction side. All right, so this is where all the media is going to be coming out of the blasting pot, mixing with the air, and going into your blast hose. All right. So normally when you buy this thing, this is extremely small piping. It's like 3/8, normal iron pipe. And the mixing area, or the little assembly that it comes with, is just terrible. All right. It's not big enough. You can tell it's cheap. You can tell it was just mass produced. So what I went ahead and did is, instead of trying to go from 3/8 to 1/2 inch iron pipe, because you're still going through the same size hole, I drilled out the threads of the 3/8 and I drilled them out to a 1/2 inch pipe size, and I welded a nipple sticking out of the bottom of it in 1/2 inch iron pipe. And from there, everything on through is 1/2 inch. So this is a 1/2 inch stainless steel ball valve, 1/2 inch black T, and I have the hose coming in and combining all 1/2 inch. All right, so what this is going to do is it's going to allow you a bigger area to mix the media with the air coming in, and you're going to stop getting clogs above the valve. This was a huge problem initially, is this little tiny orifice in the valve would clog up. You're going to cycle the valve, you're wasting time. We're going to get away from that. So step one, upgrade this to 1/2 inch. All right. The other thing to note is this leg right here. This leg is, frankly, it's garbage. The thing bends. This is very thin metal around here. You got 110 pounds of blasting media in there. You put it down, this leg always ends up bending up. So eventually what I'm going to do is cut this off and weld on a floor flange, or just weld on a floor flange. That way I can distribute the load more evenly, and because eventually I know this is going to tear eventually, and it's probably going to send this tank through my roof. So step one, enlarge the mixing area. All right, 1/2 inch pipe is good. They sell some kits that you can buy that supposedly have improved mixing valves. We're talking about 20 bucks at Lowe's. You get all the stuff, you're good to go. Okay, so step two is going to be your air. All right, a couple things with this. The first thing is the factory air separator, water separator that comes on this thing. Take it off, throw it away. It's garbage. All right, it will not hold up. It doesn't really hold up to the flow that's needed with the air. So just immediately go ahead and swap out to a larger unit, something 3/8, even 1/2 inch would probably be about right. All right, this thing's going to pick up a lot of moisture, so it's very important that you have enough area to last you through your blasting. All right, other than that, you're going to have to shut it down, drain the pressure off, and then start over again. So what I did is I put 2 water separators. I have a normal style water separator right here, and then I have it going through a desiccant style water absorber, water filter. Right, these are screw on, screw off. They sell the desiccant BBs, and you replace them honestly pretty much every time. It's amazing how much moisture ends up in your air. Beyond that, the rest of the air system I have left alone. And some people say, oh, you need to go up to 1/2 inch, you need to go to 1/2 inch, but they forget that the flow rate through either the moisture separator or their air fittings is rather low. If you have a normal style air fitting with that really tiny orifice in there, you're not getting the amount of flow that's going to necessitate 1/2 inch piping. All right, so better off to save your money on that and just go ahead and add additional filtration to your air inlet. The other thing that I decided to do is I went on Amazon and I bought some high flow air fittings. All right, so they're 3/8 on top. Actually, it might even be 1/4 inch for the end of a normal air hose. They are 1/4 inch on top, but they're high flow. They have a much larger diameter hole, and I run these air fittings directly off the compressor pressure tank. I don't go through the regulator because that kills all your flow too. So high flow air fittings, 2 types of water separation, and a good accurate gauge. This is important. This is the factory gauge that came on here. It served me well so far. I haven't had any issues, but make sure this gauge is accurate. You don't want to overpressurize this tank and pop this pressure relief valve. All right, and the last thing that I did, which if you do nothing else, do this. All right, if you have the ability, go on Amazon and buy yourself, it's like a vibratory equipment tumbler or something like that. They sell these things on Amazon. This is a small one. This one is 30 watts, 1/4 of an amp. Right, you plug it in, and it shakes the bejesus out of this tank as you're trying to flow the media through. This is a complete game changer. With all this entire setup I have, if I don't plug this in, I get intermittent blast media through the thing, through the gun, and it's awful. All right, so you plug this thing in, it shakes the hell out of this. The only drawback to it is it does require welding. All right, don't go drilling a hole in this. You got to weld a bracket to support this, and it's got to be strong. And also, when you plug this in and it starts shaking, this tank walks its way back. All right, the wheels and everything like that, it's shaking, it kind of vibrates its way in reverse. So what I end up doing is I take the air hose and I loop it underneath the wheels so it doesn't go for a ride on me. All right, but this is huge. Get a vibratory tumbler, weld it on there. You might even be able to hose clamp it to one of the legs or up here or something like that, but this is a game changer. All right, and the last part of this we're going to talk about is the air hose itself. All right, so the factory hose that comes off, it's 3/4 inch rubber hose, and it comes with a dead man, or maybe, no, actually, no, I think the factory one doesn't come with a dead man. You got to buy the dead man, which everybody does. It's garbage, okay? Your hand goes numb after holding that stupid thing. The nozzles don't hold up. Take that bullshit and throw it away, all right? On eBay, they sell these things. These are boron carbide nozzles, okay? You have to get the correct one for your compressor's capacity. Don't go buying the biggest nozzle and all of a sudden you got a little pancake compressor. It's not going to hold up, all right? So what you got to do is you size the nozzle appropriately to your compressor, and then it comes basically just like this. We've got a pipe nipple, little flare fitting adapter that's drilled out to accept this nozzle, and that's pretty much it. Beyond that, I chose to extend my hose with some of this braided clear tubing for the pressure, and I also use some cinch-on hose clamps. None of that worm gear crap. These are good solid hose clamps. Barb fittings, very, very important. All right. Other than that, this thing's going to go through the wall when you finally get it up to pressure. And you have to use stainless steel ball valves or steel ball valves. Don't use brass ball valves. Don't use that Harbor Freight crap. All right, the media is going to eat its way through it and it'll ruin it. Even using this 304 stainless, if I leave this valve halfway open, if I don't fully open it, it eats through the ball in the middle. That's how good the material is coming out and how fast it's coming out and how aggressive it's coming out. All right. This nozzle, I was averaging with the ceramic tip nozzles, I was averaging anywhere between 20 minutes to a half hour of blast time, and then throw the nozzle out. I have about 20 to 30 hours of blasting on this nozzle, this boron carbide nozzle, and it looks the exact same as the day I bought it. All right, so this is worth every penny. Between this and this, it's going to change your world. So there we have it. So these are the mods that I've done to this pot blaster to make it work for me. I hope it works for you. They're all pretty common sense mods. If I had to change anything, what I would do is I would actually put a check valve inside this top piece. So I'm going to take this out, get a shorter piece, and get a check valve that only allows the air to go into this blast pot. A couple times, stupidly, I've caught myself doing this. When you're all done, instead of closing this valve, you just pull the air hose. And then all the blast media that's in solution in here rockets up through either this air line or this and fills the desiccant or the water separator with blast media, and then I got to clean it out. It's a pain in the ass, and it pretty much ruins the day. All right, so again, I set up some stuff. We're gonna blast it and tell me what you think. All right, there's no tricks, photography, or none of that, just because I don't really know how to do that. This is just normal rusty parts getting blasted. And you tell me what you think. All right, I'll link to this in the description, and I'm gonna try to get the link to this vibratory tumbler in there for you too. So if nothing else, this is Cam Sweet from the Garage Connection. All right, keep working on those projects.